Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fundamental. Sleep and emotions. And specifically, how they're, much more connected than we might think, right?
Yeah.
They influence each other constantly.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's our mission for this deep dive, really. To unpack that complex two-way street between sleep problems and our emotional states.
Okay.
We've gone through a pretty comprehensive report, and it really, highlights this link. Understanding it is, it's kind of a shortcut to knowing more about your own daily health, why you feel how you feel sometimes.
Right. So the report talks about a vicious cycle. Let's unpack that. This idea that sleep and emotional health are sort of locked together.
Exactly. They profoundly impact each other.
So how do sleep disorders start that cycle? How do they mess with our emotions?
Well, they can have a huge impact. The numbers are pretty startling, actually.
Okay.
If you struggle with insomnia, for instance, you face a 10 times higher risk of developing depression. That's significant.
10 times.
Yeah. And for people with obstructive sleep apnea, OSA, it's a 5-fold increase in the likelihood of depression.
5 times. Still huge.
Definitely. And, physiologically, not getting enough sleep ramps up stress hormones, like cortisol. So you feel more stressed, sure, but it also seems to weaken your emotional resilience, your kind of emotional shock absorbers get worn down.
That makes total sense if your body's already stressed from lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's flip it then. How does our emotional state affect our sleep? Because I think we all know that feeling a worried mind just doesn't want to switch off.
Precisely. Emotional imbalances are massive sleep disruptors. Take depression, something like 75%, 3/4 of people with depression report having trouble sleeping.
75%.
Yeah, often it's, less deep restorative sleep and waking up way too early and not being able to get back to sleep. And anxiety, that constant worrying, the mental hyperarousal, it makes falling asleep and staying asleep incredibly hard. Sometimes you even get those really disruptive nightmares.
Right.
And interestingly, with bipolar disorder, sometimes a sudden drop in how much sleep someone needs can actually be a sign that a manic episode is starting.
That's fascinating. And I guess part of the challenge here is that the symptoms overlap so much, right? Feeling tired, irritable, can't concentrate.
Exactly.
That happens with poor sleep and with things like depression or anxiety.
Yeah.
So it must be easy to misdiagnose, like maybe blaming depression when it's actually OSA.
That happens quite a bit. And digging into the why, it's about what happens in the brain.
Okay.
Sleep deprivation can actually increase activity in the amygdala, that's like the brain's emotional alarm center.
Right.
While at the same time, it decreases activity in the prefrontal cortex. That's your emotional regulator, your impulse control.
So the alarm is louder and the control system is weaker.
You got it. So you're just sort of less equipped to handle emotions calmly. It also messes with how your brain processes emotional memories overnight. Things don't get filed away properly.
Okay, so this connection is deep. It's neurological. Given all that, what do we do? What are the solutions?
Well, it really points to needing integrated treatments. You can't just treat one side in isolation.
Makes sense.
For example, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBTI, is a fantastic first step. It's really effective for insomnia, obviously, but also helps with the depression that often tags along. And on the flip side, treating OSA, maybe with CPAP therapy, that's been shown to really improve depressive symptoms too.
So treating the sleep problem helps the mood problem and vice versa.
Exactly. The key is tackling both, often at the same time, for recovery that actually lasts. Because fundamentally, sleep and emotional well-being are, they're two sides of the same coin.
So here's something to think about. How might just focusing on improving your sleep, maybe even with small tweaks, lead to real shifts in how stable you feel emotionally day to day? And the other way around, if you address that anxiety or low mood you've been struggling with, could that be the key to finally getting more restful nights? What little signs might you be missing in your own life that connect these two?